Morning. So today's walk is about Bess of Hardwick and conquering a slag heap. So today's walk is going to incorporate going to Stainsby Mill, then up to Hardwick Hall, and then we will head on to Sparkhill Country Park, which is the highest point in Nottinghamshire, a man-made hill, and then we will get onto the Teversal Trail and finish in Pleasley later this afternoon. In the background we have the M1, then we have this concrete hut. I'm not sure what that's for, maybe for doves or maybe for duck. One of those answers on a postcard, or add into the comments. So just reached Stainsby Mill, which is just behind me. Not looking in good condition at the moment. It's got scaffolding all around. The mill has been on this site since the 13th century. Originally, all the water from the mill came from the river Doe Lea. By the 1840s, the mill had deteriorated, where the 6th Duke of Devonshire decided it needs rebuilding with new machinery. It then continued as a working mill until 1952. When the 10th Duke of Devonshire died in 1950, the mill was given to the government as part of the cost of death duties. It was given to the National Trust in 1992 and now stands as a working mill which is open to the general public. Although, looking at it at the moment, I don't think anyone's visiting it, as a bit of scaffolding, a bit of extra works have been done on it. It's interesting that there's a few pumpkins here and squash, seeing as Halloween was about 3 or 4 months ago. So we're going to head on from Stainsby Mill, and now we're going to take the lane into Hardwick Estate. Okay, we're just reaching Blingsby Gate. Blingsby Gate was used as a guardhouse when they used to have a Second World War parachute camp just within the Hardwick Estate. And at the rear of Hardwick Hall is an area called the Wine Glasses, the way the trees are shaped. And that was the area where the paratroopers used to land. The camp formerly consisted of temporary buildings erected to house paratroopers being trained at the park. After the war, the camp was used for miners until it was demolished in 1959. It's becoming quite windy today, but as we reach the brow of the hill, we get our first glimpse of the old Hardwick Hall just behind the trees, and then if we move across the left hand side, we just get to see the newer hall. So in front we have Miller's Pond, and then further around the corner we're going to come across in a moment is Duck Decoy Plantation. So just come into a kissing gate. Unfortunately for myself, I've got no one to kiss, so I won't be doing that today. And we can see quite clearly the old hall in front of us. The old hall of Hardwick survives only as a shell. Bess's father's farmhouse was expanded into the hall in the 1550s. So as we look down the hill, we see the 5 ponds a little bit more clearly now, although I can still count 4, and then the Great Lake at the bottom. We've just walked up the hill and we've just noticed there's a fence against the gate, so we can't go this way. So now I've got to find an alternative route to get up to the hall. After a little bit of a scramble, we managed to find a way up to the hall. It seems that all entrances, as in a footpath, are blocked. I had to climb over a barbed wire fence. Funny enough, the footpath led to this barbed wire fence. It was either go all the way back and trying to find another route, or just climb over it. Anyway, this is Hardwick Hall in front of us. We'll walk around the front and get a better view. So who was Bess of Hardwick? From rags to riches. Bess's father, a farmer, died when she was at an early age, and her stepfather was in prison for debts. She went into service for a wealthy family when she was 12, and here is where she met her first husband, Robert Barman, in 1544. 3 years later, she remarried Sir William Cavendish, the Duke of Devonshire. He was much older and made his wealth from the dissolution of the monasteries. Bess and Sir William bought Chatsworth Estate, and between them started to build Chatsworth House. Bess had 8 children with Sir William. Sir William died in 1557 on suspicious circumstances. He left everything in his will to Bess and his 8 children. Bess's wealth had now increased. Her third husband came in 1559, Sir William St. Low. He was captain of the guard for Queen Elizabeth I and head butler of England. He was extremely wealthy and owned large estates across the country. Her fourth husband she married in 1568, and that was George Talbot, the Earl of Shrewsbury, making Bess the Countess of Shrewsbury. In 1569, Bess and George were entrusted in the care of Queen Mary of Scots by Elizabeth I. Mary had escaped Scotland looking for refuge from her cousin Queen Elizabeth I. She instructed Mary to be under house arrest. Mary stayed with the Earl and Countess of Shrewsbury for 15 years. In 1580, the couple separated under the pressure of keeping Mary. It is believed that George Talbot had an affair with Queen Mary of Scots, but other people don't believe that due to his age and ill health. Bess became a powerful woman and the second wealthiest woman in England after the Queen. She fought of her dynasty and all her children were arranged into wealthy marriages. Her granddaughter, Arbella Stuart, had a claim to the throne. In 1590, on the death of the Earl of Shrewsbury, she decided to build a new home by the side of Old Hardwick Hall. After alterations to the Old Hall was to show Bess's wealth and grand status. As the saying goes, Hardwick Hall more glass than war. Robert Smythson, the architect, designed the hall. The building looks English from the outside, but the interior has an Italian, French and Flemish feel to it. Completed in 1597, the amount of glass was expensive and a modern luxury back in the day. Her initials are seen all over the house, as you can see at the top of the towers, E.S. Elizabeth of Shrewsbury. The current Queen Elizabeth II is a direct descendant of Bess of Hardwick. Bess died on the 13th of February 1608, aged 81. Her body rests in Derby Cathedral. So the area in front of me is what they call the bowl or the wine glass. Obviously the top section is the wine glass itself, and then looking down the avenue of trees is the stem. Now this was built not for Bess of Hardwick, used as a runway for when training soldiers for World War II. Well, she didn't do bad for herself, old Bess. From her old farmhouse to the old hall, and then just across the road, building a little bit of a bigger house, Hardwick Hall, even with your own initials in the top of the towers. So this is next point of call. This is the Slag Heap, the spoil heap that's of 2 collieries, and it is the highest point in Nottinghamshire, although be it man-made. So this area is called the Lady Spencer Walk, part of the Hardwick Estate. It's Lady Margaret Georgina Spencer who married John, 1st Earl Spencer of Orthorpe, so an ancestor to Princess Diana. So even though I've got my microphone on today, with my little windsock, what do you call it, cat, dead mouse, dead rabbit, dead hippopotamus, still rather windy. I wouldn't say it's the Krypton Factor Assault course, but it's a start. This is Norwood Lodge, built in 1738. It is a Grade 2 listed farmhouse. We've just left Norwood Lodge. I'm going to take this footpath behind me across the fields, and then that will take me towards Teversal and then near Teversal we'll take a right up onto Sparkhill Country Park. Right, the next stop is Sparkhill Wood, which is a spoil heap, or some might call it a slag heap. So the path I'm on now is an old railway track. There was 3 collieries all joined here, and this hill in front is man-made. It is a old spoil heap, and it is now the actual tallest point in Nottinghamshire. A young cygnet by himself. I'm not sure where his mum and dad is. I'm sure close. I'll come up my rear in a minute. See a couple of methane extraction points. But now we're at the base of the hill, and we're going to climb up this hill now to get to obviously the summit of Nottinghamshire. So Sparkhill Wood Country Park, built on 2 former colliery sites, and is a slag heap, which is a spoil waste from the mines. This is a man-made summit where you can see 5 counties on a clear day, including Lincoln Cathedral, which is 40 miles away. This is the highest point in Nottinghamshire, that's standing at 204 metres above sea level. So behind me is a bronze statue of a kneeling miner. He's holding a Davy lamp, and it's called Testing for Gas. The statue is for 85 years of mining in Nottinghamshire. So now that we've conquered the summit of Nottinghamshire, all 204 metres of it, we're going to walk down to the Teversal Trail. So we're on the trail, which is an old colliery railway line that's closed in 1978. The trail is 7 kilometres long along the track beds of the Great Northern Railway and the Midland Railway. Along the trail are numerous artefacts from the local colliery, including pit wheels and minecarts. So this is the final stint for today, and we'll finish off in Pleasley. Now, like usual, I'm on a railway track, so that only means one thing. It's dark, it's winter, and I'm going to finish it in the dark. So hopefully you'll like to join me on the next one. So we've got another walk planned in reference to Robin Hood. We're going up to Edwinstone, which is the place where Maid Marian and Robin Hood got married, and also the Major Oak, a tree that was quite famous for Robin Hood and his merry men to be hanging around. Also hoping to do some how-to-do guides in map reading and other navigation skills. Hopefully you'll come and follow me on the next trail. So if you'd like to subscribe, press the bell and receive the notifications. So please press the like and feel free to make a comment, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one. So until the next time, bye hikers.